Hey everybody, today we have a Fuji GW690 professional camera, 6x9 centimeter medium format camera. I've had about every iteration of these, starting with the GLBP 690 to the professional, and then to the GW690 Mark 1, 2, and 3. I came across this camera about a month or so ago, and I ordered it from a seller off Japan. There's a huge amount of these cameras in the Japanese market, but sometimes these things are just a big flop. And so the issue I was having with this camera is that I would put a roll film in and I would shoot the film, and then after about three or four exposures, the advancement would lock up. And this was kind of a big deal because, like I ordered it overseas and I didn't really know what was going on with it. And I just decided to kind of like take it apart and see what's happening with it. So the issue, there's something in the advancement that was happening, and I just decided to take it apart. And so what I'm going to show you today is if you ever decide to get one of these cameras in the future, the only bad thing about these cameras is that you cannot find parts and people will not work on them. When I got this camera, I sent about 7 to 8 emails of two camera repairs across the country in the United States. And Nippon Photo Clinic in New York City will work on them, but they cannot source parts. They can do a CLA. The predominant Fuji repair in the country, Frank Marshman out of Virginia, I wasn't able to get a hold of him, so I'm not sure if he's still working on these cameras or not. So, the big thing is, it's like they don't have parts anymore, and it's like, what are you going to do? So, I got this camera in, and there's an advancement issue, and we're going to take a look at it right now. I'm going to take the top part off, and I'm going to show you exactly the issue I was having. And if you decide to buy one of these cameras for yourself and you run into the same issue, you'll at least have a good place to start out with. All right, everybody. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take off the top plate here, and we're going to see what's happening here. Um, there's a couple things you need to do first when you take these off. The eyepiece thing, you want to remove this, unscrew it, and the next thing you'll want to do is remove this little buddy right here. That's connecting to the film advance. Some of these cameras, they're kind of old, so you can kind of use it. You can kind of use like just brute force. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. So depending on how old your camera is, or if anybody like did a CLA on it last, you can kind of like just use your hands and remove this part right here. So upon removing this part, you're going to have this little section right here where the film advances, and then you're also going to have this little metal piece right here. I like to be very organized when I take things apart. So I'm going to take this one part right here. It's going to set off to the side. Here we have our film advance lever, and I'm just going to remove that right here. I'm going to set this off to the side. And we also have this little metal piece right here that hooks into the actual mechanism itself. And if you ever get confused on the how to put it back together, it fits perfectly flush right here. So I like to keep these things together, and that's what I'm going to do right here. For today, I have a PH00 Phillips head right here, and there's a few screws to take out. There's one on the left and the right side, there's one on the back, and then there's one on the front. So forgive the camera angle if this is kind of awkward, but we're going to go ahead and just like kind of remove this right here. Just talking about the parts availability earlier, you want to have a very gentle hand when you remove these parts. Anything on this camera, I try to be super gentle with because, these repair shops, they don't have the parts if you need to have a replacement part, and also at the same time, they're very old. These are very old cameras, and you just have to be gentle and not strip. Just drop this one. You don't want to strip any of these parts at all. So I'll take this top part right here. Let's see if I can get in here. And then we're going to remove this part. The tool set that I'm using, I got off Amazon. It's just your typical kind of like repair, electronics repair tool set. And also, I want to point out that the front screw on the front plate is longer. I'm hoping the camera can see that. I'm a one-man operation, everybody, so you know this is what I'm working with right now. Alrighty, so now that we have the screws removed, it's just a simple, just have a light and gentle touch. That's all you got to do, and you just got to kind of just lightly pull these things up, and then after we've removed those parts, we have the actual mechanism right here. The main issue I was having with this camera is that after about 3 or 4 shots, you couldn't cock the shutter and the film would not advance. And so I just took it apart and tried to figure out what was going on with it. So in order to do this, you'll have to, once you have the top off, you have to take the arm back here, and you see like I have this this metal part right here, and we're just going to leave that right there as is. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back. So you want to kind of test and see what's going on here. So we have this part back in action. We're all set. And then we'll take the shutter button itself and take that. And then I like to do counterclockwise until it catches. Screw it back within reason, not too hard. We're just here to kind of like test some stuff right now. So now that I have this, I'm going to open the back because the back's going to allow me to advance the shutter. So as we're looking right here, shutter's already cocked. I'm at a 50th of a second. Let's just point it to like a quarter of a second, just so you can understand and hear how the shutter reacts. So you press the button, and the shutter's fine. It's perfect. And so what we're looking at right here, we're trying to look at the inner workings of this camera. We're going to have a bit of camera shake, but I want to show you exactly what we're kind of looking at right here. So again, apologize for the camera shake, one-man operation. So here, we're looking at the gears and the shutter mechanism. So here, just want to give you kind of like a good look at what this looks like and all the movements that are involved. So let's just go ahead and cock the shutter and see what is moving right here. And just pay close attention to this one. You can rewind it and watch it again. It took me a few times personally to kind of figure out what was going on. So we are moving the shutter. And from here, this little spring's getting engaged. And then when you press the shutter itself, the lens opens, as you can see at the bottom. So that looks okay. And now what we're going to do next is just kind of like take a look. We'll do a top view right here and see how the shutter is getting cocked. That look good. You can see right here, this little guy right here. When I press the shutter down, this is moving. So let's cock it one more time, and we'll take a look. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, so here from the top, see, here is the problem. There's something within this mechanism that is not pushing down all the way. So we have to pinpoint what the issue is. So let's take a look from the top. Shutter's perfect. Let's take one more look here. Sorry about the autofocus. You can see this arm right here helps advance the shutter. So let's press the button one more time. Perfect. And so what I found out is the issue is, I'm going to take my screwdriver and point this out to you all. The issue that I found is this part right here, this little moving part, this is the culprit right here. The issue I was having with the camera is that this part was, I don't think this camera's been cleaned in a long time. So all these parts kind of like, just kind of gummed up. And you can also see from this particular example, this, it's hard to see, but there's a bit of rust on this little spring. But I'm going to press this button and just be aware of this little movement right here. You can see it partially moves right here. So there's, herein lies the issue. And see, when you perfectly cock the shutter, this little part moves to the right hand side. And then when you press the button, it releases. So we're going to cock the shutter and just watch this part right here. There can be a slight delay and lag in this part, in the escapement. I'm not an official camera repair tech, so I just want to go ahead and say that right now. This is just me buying something and then it not working, and then I'm trying to fix it. So this part right here had a certain lag to it. And so once I figured that out, press the button and it goes to the the left hand side. Now when you cock it, let's make sure you go all the way to the right hand side, because some of these cameras are very kind of finicky and they just don't work. And so let's press that shutter button one more time and just again be very aware of this part right here. So released. And let's do a half cock right here if you're going really fast. And let's do a quick one. So the issue I was running into is that this part right here, it was sticking when I originally opened it up. So since that part was sticking, I cleaned it with a little bit of Ronsonol, with the Ronsonol dry. And then I put some Hoppy's lubricating oil in it. And if you see my other videos with my Leica stuff, I use the same stuff. I find that those products work really well if you just want to make a quick fix at home. I wouldn't necessarily call this a quick fix. I would call this a semi-permanent fix. Mainly because there are no broken parts in this camera. It just needed a CLA. And I didn't want to send it off. I just got it. I didn't want to be without this camera for about who knows how long the wait time is going to be. But I didn't want to be without the camera, so I decided to take it apart and figure out what was going on with it. And so this part, just be very wary of it. And you know, anybody can do this. It's pretty easy to take these cameras apart. And I just wanted to show a quick video of how, if you're having any kind of film advancement issues with any of the Fuji cameras, 6x9, 6x7, 6x8, this little guy right here is the culprit. So this was kind of a shorter video, but I just wanted to put it out there that if you're having these issues, this would be a good place to start. Thank you.